Picture this, you're scrolling through social media, and there it is, another post from someone who seems to have it all. The perfect job, the dream vacation, the flawless life. And suddenly, that little voice in your head starts whispering, "Why not me?" Sound familiar? Envy is something we've all felt at some point. It's that nagging emotion that creeps in when we compare ourselves to others, leaving us feeling inadequate or resentful. But here's the thing, envy doesn't have to control us. In fact, it's a natural emotion, one that even the ancient Stoics recognized and addressed, and that's where Stoicism comes in. This timeless philosophy offers practical tools to help us manage envy, not by suppressing it, but by understanding it and redirecting its energy. In this video, we're diving into 25 actionable Stoic strategies to help you overcome envy and reclaim your peace of mind. Whether it's social media comparisons, workplace rivalries, or just that lingering sense of not enough, these principles will guide you toward a more content and resilient mindset. So, if you're ready to stop comparing and start thriving, let's get started. Now, let's dive into the first strategy, recognizing envy as an external judgment. Envy often arises when we place too much value on things outside of ourselves: wealth, status, possessions, or even someone else's achievements. The Stoics called these things indifference, meaning they are neither good nor bad in themselves. What truly matters, according to Stoic philosophy, is how we respond to them. Think about it. When you feel envious, it's usually because you're comparing yourself to someone else's external circumstances. Maybe it's their job title, their lifestyle, or even their social media presence. But here's the key insight: these things are not within your control. You can't dictate what others have or how they live their lives. What you can control, however, is your own thoughts and actions. For example, instead of fixating on someone else's promotion, focus on what you can do to grow in your own career. Or, rather than envying someone's vacation photos, take a moment to appreciate the small joys in your daily life. By shifting your attention inward toward your own values, efforts, and choices, you take back the power that envy tries to steal. This doesn't mean ignoring your feelings of envy. Instead, it's about understanding where those feelings come from and choosing not to let them define you. When you recognize that external things are indifferent, you free yourself from the grip of comparison and start living on your own terms. And that's where true peace begins. So the next time envy creeps in, pause and ask yourself, is this something I can control? If the answer is no, let it go. Focus on what's within your power and watch how your perspective shifts. This is the first step toward mastering envy, and it's a powerful one. Now, let's move on to the next strategy, where we'll explore how to use gratitude as a tool to combat envy. Now, let's explore the second strategy, practicing negative visualization. This Stoic exercise might sound counterintuitive at first, but it's a powerful way to shift your perspective and reduce envy. The idea is simple. Take a moment to imagine losing something you value, whether it's your job, a relationship, or even your health. By visualizing what life would be like without it, you're forced to confront how much you truly appreciate what you have. Here's how it works. Let's say you're feeling envious of a coworker who just got a promotion. Instead of dwelling on what they have that you don't, try this. Close your eyes and picture what it would feel like to lose your own job. Imagine the uncertainty, the stress, and the challenges of starting over. Then, when you open your eyes, take a deep breath and remind yourself of the stability and opportunities your current job provides. Suddenly, that promotion your coworker received doesn't seem as important. What matters is the gratitude you feel for your own situation. This practice doesn't just reduce envy, it also helps you cultivate a deeper sense of contentment. When you regularly reflect on the possibility of losing what you have, you start to see your life in a new light. The things you once took for granted, your relationships, your health, even the roof over your head become sources of genuine appreciation. And when you're truly grateful for what you have, there's less room for envy to take root. Negative visualization isn't about dwelling on the negative or living in fear. It's about creating a mental contrast that highlights the value of what's already in your life. By practicing this exercise, you train your mind to focus on abundance rather than scarcity. And when you do that, envy loses its power over you. So, the next time you catch yourself feeling envious, try this Stoic strategy. Take a moment to imagine life without something you cherish and let that thought guide you back to gratitude. It's a simple yet profound way to reframe your mindset and find peace in the present. Now, let's move forward to the third strategy, where we'll discuss how focusing on your own virtue can help you overcome envy. Now, let's turn our attention to the third strategy, focusing on your own virtue. This Stoic principle reminds us that true worth doesn't come from external achievements like wealth, status, or recognition. Instead, it comes from living a life of virtue, cultivating qualities like wisdom, courage, justice, and self-discipline. When you shift your focus to these internal values, you begin to see that your worth isn't tied to what others have or what society deems successful. Think about it this way: when you're envious of someone else's success, you're often comparing their external achievements to your own. But what if, instead of measuring yourself against their accomplishments, you measured yourself against your own moral standards? What if you asked yourself, am I living with integrity? Am I striving to be the best version of myself? These questions redirect your energy inward where it belongs. For example, let's say you feel envious of a friend who just bought a luxurious new car. Instead of fixating on their material possession, take a moment to reflect on your own values. Are you honest in your dealings with others? Are you kind and compassionate in your relationships? Are you working to improve yourself every day? When you focus on these aspects of your character, the car becomes irrelevant. What matters is the person you're becoming. This shift in focus doesn't just diminish envy, it also empowers you. When you prioritize personal growth and moral integrity, you're no longer at the mercy of external circumstances. You're building a foundation of self-respect and inner strength that no one can take away. And when you're secure in who you are, there's no need to envy anyone else. The Stoics believed that virtue is the only true good and everything else, wealth, fame, even health, is indifferent. That doesn't mean these things are bad, it simply means they don't define your worth. By focusing on your own virtue, you align yourself with this timeless wisdom. You stop chasing after what others have and start appreciating the richness of your own character. So the next time envy creeps in, remind yourself of this Stoic strategy. Shift your focus from what others have to who you are becoming. Cultivate your virtues and let them guide your actions. When you do, you'll find that envy has no place in a life lived with purpose and integrity. With this in mind, let's move forward to the fourth strategy, where we'll explore how comparing yourself to your past self can help you overcome envy and foster self-improvement. Now let's dive into the fourth strategy, comparing yourself to your past self. This Stoic practice shifts the focus away from measuring your worth against others and instead encourages you to look inward at how far you've come. When you compare yourself to others, it's easy to feel inadequate or envious, especially in a world where everyone's achievements are on display. But when you compare yourself to who you were yesterday, last month, or even last year, you create a healthier, more productive mindset. Think about it like this: imagine you're training for a marathon. If you constantly compare your progress to someone who's been running for years, you might feel discouraged. But if you look back at where you started, maybe you couldn't run a mile without stopping, you'll see how much you've improved. That sense of progress is empowering. It reminds you that growth is a journey, not a race against others. The same principle applies to your career or personal goals. Let's say you're envious of a colleague who just got a promotion. Instead of fixating on their success, take a moment to reflect on your own journey. Have you learned new skills? Have you taken on challenges that once seemed impossible? When you focus on your own growth, you'll find that envy fades, replaced by a sense of pride in how far you've come. This practice isn't just about feeling better, it's about becoming better. By comparing yourself to your past self, you identify areas where you've improved and areas where you can still grow. It's a continuous cycle of self-reflection and self-improvement, which is at the heart of Stoic philosophy. For example, consider keeping a journal to track your progress. Write down your goals, your achievements, and even your setbacks. Over time, you'll have a clear record of your growth, and that can be incredibly motivating. It's a tangible reminder that you're moving forward, even if it doesn't always feel like it. The Stoics believed that the only person you should compete with is yourself. When you embrace this mindset, you free yourself from the trap of envy. You stop worrying about what others have and start focusing on what you can achieve. And that's where true fulfillment lies, not in outshining others, but in becoming the best version of yourself. So, the next time you feel the sting of envy, take a step back. Look at how far you've come and let that inspire you to keep moving forward. When you compare yourself to your past self, you'll find that envy has no place in your journey. With this in mind, let's move on to the fifth strategy, where we'll explore how understanding the illusion of perfection can help you overcome envy and see others' lives in a more realistic light. Now, let's turn our attention to the fifth strategy, understanding the illusion of perfection. One of the biggest triggers of envy is the belief that others have perfect lives, lives free from struggle, failure, or hardship. But here's the truth. What we see on the surface is rarely the full story. Social media, for example, is a highlight reel, not a documentary. People share their best moments, their successes, and their wins, but rarely do they show the behind-the-scenes struggles that come with them. The Stoics remind us that no one's life is as perfect as it appears. Even those who seem to have it all, wealth, fame, or success, face challenges that aren't visible to the outside world. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, was a Roman emperor with immense power and privilege. Yet his personal writings reveal a man constantly grappling with doubt, responsibility, and the weight of his role. If even an emperor struggled, it's a reminder that no one is immune to life's difficulties. So, how can we use this understanding to combat envy? Start by questioning the stories you tell yourself about others. When you see someone's seemingly perfect life, remind yourself that you're only seeing a fraction of their reality. That friend who always posts about their amazing vacations. They might be dealing with stress or loneliness when the camera is off. That colleague who seems to excel at everything, they might be working late nights or facing pressures you don't see. The Stoic practice here is to shift your perspective from comparison to compassion. Instead of envying others, try to empathize with them. Recognize that everyone has their own battles, even if they're not visible. This doesn't mean dismissing their achievements. It simply means seeing them as whole, complex human beings, not as idealized versions of perfection. Another way to apply this strategy is to focus on your own journey. When you catch yourself comparing your life to someone else's curated highlight reel, pause and ask yourself, what am I grateful for in my own life? What challenges have I overcome? What progress have I made? By grounding yourself in your own reality, you break free from the illusion of perfection and find contentment in the life you're actually living. Remember, the Stoics teach us that true peace comes from within, not from external validation or comparison. When you stop chasing the illusion of perfection, you free yourself from the cycle of envy. You begin to see life as it truly is, messy, imperfect, and beautifully human. With this in mind, let's move forward to the sixth strategy, where we'll explore how cultivating contentment with what you have can help you build a life free from envy and full of gratitude. Now, let's dive into the sixth strategy, cultivating contentment with what you have. At the heart of Stoicism lies the idea of enough, the understanding that true fulfillment doesn't come from accumulating more but from appreciating what we already possess. Envy often stems from a mindset of scarcity, where we feel like we're lacking something others have. But the Stoics challenge us to shift that perspective and recognize that we already have what we need to live a meaningful life. The concept of enough is powerful because it redirects our focus from what's missing to what's present. Think about it. When you're constantly chasing the next big thing, whether it's a promotion, a new car, or a bigger house, you're always in a state of wanting. But when you pause and reflect on what you already have, you begin to see the abundance in your life. This isn't about settling or giving up on growth. It's about finding peace in the present moment. So, how can you cultivate this sense of contentment? One practical way is through mindfulness. Take a few moments each day to simply be present. Notice the small joys around you, the warmth of the sun, the taste of your morning coffee, or the sound of laughter. These moments might seem insignificant, but they're the building blocks of a contented life. By practicing mindfulness, you train your mind to appreciate what's here and now, rather than fixating on what's missing. Another powerful tool is journaling. At the end of each day, write down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be grand or extraordinary. They could be as simple as a kind word from a friend or a quiet evening at home. Over time, this practice helps you develop a habit of gratitude, which naturally counters envy. When you're focused on what you're thankful for, there's less room to dwell on what others have. The Stoics also encourage us to reflect on the impermanence of material possessions. Everything we own, our homes, our gadgets, even our achievements, is temporary. By reminding ourselves of this, we can detach from the need to accumulate more and instead find contentment in the present. As Seneca once wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." Cultivating contentment doesn't mean you stop striving for improvement. It simply means you stop tying your happiness to external things. When you embrace the idea of enough, you free yourself from the endless cycle of comparison and envy. You begin to see that true wealth isn't measured by what you have, but by how you feel about what you have. With this mindset, let's move forward to the 7th strategy, where we'll explore how reflecting on the transience of life can help us put envy into perspective and find deeper meaning in our experiences. Now, let's turn our attention to the 7th strategy, reflecting on the transience of life. One of the most profound teachings of Stoicism is the idea that everything in life is temporary: our possessions, our achievements, even our relationships. This might sound unsettling at first, but when we truly embrace this truth, it can be incredibly liberating. Envy often arises because we attach too much importance to things that, in the grand scheme of life, are fleeting. The Stoics remind us that nothing lasts forever, and by reflecting on this, we can loosen the grip that envy has on us. Think about it: the car you admire, the job title you covet, or the social status you envy, none of these things are permanent. They can be lost, changed, or taken away in an instant. The Stoics encourage us to meditate on this impermanence, not to make us pessimistic, but to help us focus on what truly matters. When we recognize that material possessions and external achievements are temporary, we stop placing so much value on them. Instead, we begin to appreciate the things that endure: our character, our values, and the way we choose to live our lives. A powerful way to practice this reflection is through what the Stoics called memento mori, the reminder of our own mortality. This might sound morbid, but it's actually a deeply grounding exercise. By regularly reminding ourselves that life is short and uncertain, we gain a clearer perspective on what's worth our energy and attention. Envy, after all, is a waste of that precious energy. Why spend time longing for what someone else has when we could be focusing on living a life of purpose and meaning? Consider this: when you feel envy creeping in, pause and ask yourself, will this thing I'm envying even matter in 5 years? 10 years at the end of my life? Chances are the answer is no. This simple question can help you detach from the fleeting nature of external things and refocus on what's truly important. The Stoics also teach us that impermanence is a natural part of life. Just as the seasons change, so do our circumstances. What we have today might be gone tomorrow, and what we lack today might come to us in the future. By accepting this ebb and flow, we can approach life with greater equanimity. Envy loses its power when we realize that nothing stays the same. Not our possessions, not our status, and not even the lives of those we envy. Reflecting on the transience of life doesn't mean we stop striving or stop caring about our goals. It simply means we stop letting envy dictate our emotions. When we see life as a series of fleeting moments, we're more likely to cherish what we have and let go of what we don't. This shift in perspective can bring a profound sense of peace and freedom. With this understanding, let's move forward to the 8th strategy, where we'll explore how practicing sympathy for those we envy can help us cultivate compassion and reduce feelings of resentment. Now, let's shift our focus to the 8th strategy, practicing sympathy for those you envy. At first glance, this might seem counterintuitive. After all, envy often makes us feel distant or even resentful toward the person we're comparing ourselves to. But Stoicism teaches us that empathy and understanding can be powerful tools for dissolving envy. When we take a moment to step into the shoes of those we envy, we often discover that their lives are far from perfect. Everyone faces challenges, even if they're not visible on the surface. Think about it. The person you envy for their career success might be struggling with burnout or a lack of fulfillment. The one with a seemingly perfect relationship might be dealing with unseen tensions or sacrifices. The Stoics remind us that no one's life is free from difficulty, and recognizing this can help us see the humanity in others. When we practice sympathy, we stop viewing people as rivals or obstacles and start seeing them as fellow travelers on the journey of life. This shift in perspective doesn't just reduce envy, it fosters compassion. Instead of feeling bitter or inadequate, we begin to feel a sense of connection. We realize that everyone is fighting their own battles, and this understanding can soften our hearts. The Stoics believed that cultivating compassion for others is not just a moral duty but also a path to inner peace. When we let go of envy and replace it with empathy, we free ourselves from the emotional weight of comparison. A practical way to practice this is to reflect on the challenges the person you envy might be facing. For example, if you envy a colleague's promotion, consider the long hours, sacrifices, and pressures that might have come with it. If you envy someone's social media presence, remind yourself that what's shared online is often a curated highlight reel, not the full story. By doing this, you're not dismissing their achievements, you're simply recognizing that their success likely came with struggles you can't see. The Stoics also encourage us to extend this sympathy to ourselves. Often, envy is rooted in feelings of inadequacy or self-doubt. When we practice empathy toward others, we can also learn to be kinder to ourselves. Instead of beating ourselves up for not measuring up, we can acknowledge our own efforts and challenges. This dual practice of compassion for others and for ourselves creates a healthier, more balanced mindset. By practicing sympathy, we not only diminish envy but also build stronger, more meaningful connections with those around us. We begin to see others not as competitors but as fellow human beings, each navigating their own unique path. This Stoic approach reminds us that true fulfillment comes from understanding and connection, not from comparison or competition. With this in mind, let's move forward to the 9th strategy, where we'll explore practical steps to limit exposure to envy triggers and create a more balanced environment for ourselves. Now, let's turn our attention to the 9th strategy, limiting exposure to envy triggers. One of the most effective ways to combat envy is to reduce the situations or environments that fuel it in the first place. While we can't control everything around us, Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, and that includes the influences we allow into our lives. Social media, for example, is a common source of envy. Scrolling through curated posts of others' achievements, vacations, or lifestyles can leave us feeling inadequate or discontent. The Stoics would remind us that these platforms often present an idealized version of reality, not the full picture. To counter this, consider setting boundaries around your social media use. This could mean limiting your time on these platforms, unfollowing accounts that trigger negative feelings, or even taking regular breaks altogether. By doing so, you're not avoiding reality, you're simply choosing to focus on what truly matters to you. Another practical step is to evaluate the environments you spend time in. Are there people or situations that consistently make you feel envious or inadequate? Stoicism encourages us to surround ourselves with individuals who uplift and inspire us, rather than those who foster comparison or negativity. This doesn't mean cutting people out of your life entirely, but it does mean being mindful of how certain interactions affect your mindset. The Stoic principle of focusing on what's within your control is key here. You can't change how others live their lives or what they choose to share, but you can control how you respond to it. By limiting exposure to envy triggers, you create space for gratitude, self-reflection, and personal growth. A helpful exercise is to identify specific triggers in your daily life. For instance, if you notice that certain conversations or activities leave you feeling envious, take note of them. Once you're aware of these triggers, you can take proactive steps to minimize their impact. This might mean redirecting your attention, setting boundaries, or even finding new hobbies that align with your values and bring you joy. Ultimately, this strategy isn't about avoiding challenges or discomfort. It's about creating an environment that supports your well-being and aligns with Stoic principles. By controlling what you can, you empower yourself to focus on what truly matters, your own growth, peace of mind, and sense of fulfillment. With this in mind, let's move forward to the 10th strategy, where we'll explore how focusing on the process rather than the outcome can help us overcome envy and find deeper satisfaction in our efforts. Now let's shift our focus to the 10th strategy, focusing on the process, not the outcome. Stoicism teaches us that true fulfillment comes from the effort we put into our actions, not the results we achieve. This mindset is incredibly powerful when it comes to overcoming envy. When we fixate on outcomes like someone else's success, wealth, or status, we often overlook the hard work, dedication, and challenges that went into achieving those results. By shifting our attention to our own efforts, we can find satisfaction in the journey itself, rather than comparing ourselves to others' destinations. Think about it this way: when you're working toward a goal, the process is entirely within your control. You decide how much effort to put in, how to approach challenges, and how to grow along the way. The outcome, however, is often influenced by factors outside your control: luck, timing, or even the actions of others. Stoicism reminds us that focusing on what we can control, our intentions and actions, brings us peace and reduces the temptation to envy others. For example, imagine you're working on a creative project. Instead of worrying about whether it will be as successful as someone else's, focus on the joy of creating, the skills you're developing, and the lessons you're learning. This shift in perspective not only reduces envy, but also deepens your appreciation for your own growth and progress. Another practical way to apply this strategy is to set process-oriented goals rather than outcome-oriented ones. Instead of aiming to get promoted or lose 20 pounds, focus on goals like improving my skills at work or developing healthier habits. These process-focused goals keep you grounded in what you can control and help you measure success by your effort, not by external validation. Stoicism also encourages us to reflect on the nature of effort itself. Every action we take, no matter how small, is an opportunity to practice virtue, whether it's discipline, patience, or perseverance. When we value these qualities, we naturally become less concerned with how our outcomes stack up against others. Instead, we find pride in the integrity of our efforts and the person we're becoming along the way. By focusing on the process, we also cultivate resilience. When setbacks occur, and they inevitably will, we're better equipped to handle them because we're not solely fixated on the end result. We can learn from challenges, adapt, and keep moving forward, knowing that our effort is what truly matters. This Stoic approach doesn't mean ignoring outcomes entirely. It simply means recognizing that outcomes are secondary to the effort and intention behind our actions. When we embrace this mindset, envy loses its grip. We stop measuring ourselves against others and start appreciating the unique value of our own journey. With this in mind, let's move forward to the 11th strategy, where we'll explore how embracing the dichotomy of control can further help us manage envy and focus on what truly matters. Now, let's turn our attention to the 11th strategy, embracing the dichotomy of control. This is one of the most foundational principles in Stoicism, and it's incredibly powerful when it comes to managing envy. The idea is simple yet profound. Some things are within our control and others are not. Our thoughts, actions, and intentions are within our control, but external outcomes, other people's opinions, and even the success of others are not. When we fully grasp this distinction, we can begin to let go of the frustration and envy that come from trying to control the uncontrollable. Think about it. How much time and energy do we waste worrying about things we can't change? Envy often stems from this very habit. We see someone else's success, wealth, or happiness, and we feel a pang of jealousy because we wish we had those things too. But here's the truth: their achievements, their possessions, and even their circumstances are outside our control. What we can control is how we respond to those feelings. We can choose to focus on our own efforts, our own growth, and our own values rather than fixating on what others have. For example, imagine you're envious of a colleague who just got a promotion. Instead of dwelling on their success, ask yourself, what can I control in this situation? You can't control their promotion or the decisions of your boss, but you can control how you approach your own work. You can focus on improving your skills, building stronger relationships, or setting new goals for yourself. By shifting your attention to what's within your control, you take back your power and reduce the hold envy has over you. This principle also helps us deal with setbacks and challenges. When things don't go our way, it's easy to feel envious of those who seem to have it easier. But Stoicism reminds us that setbacks are often outside our control, and what matters is how we respond to them. Instead of resenting others' good fortune, we can focus on what we can do to move forward. This mindset not only reduces envy but also builds resilience and inner strength. Another way to apply the dichotomy of control is to practice acceptance. When we accept that certain things are beyond our influence, we free ourselves from the burden of trying to change them. This doesn't mean giving up or being passive. It means directing our energy toward what we can influence. For instance, if you're envious of someone's social media presence, remind yourself that their online image is curated and often exaggerated. Instead of comparing yourself, focus on building genuine connections and living authentically in your own life. Stoicism teaches us that peace comes from aligning our efforts with what we can control and letting go of the rest. When we embrace this principle, envy loses its power over us. We stop measuring our worth by external standards and start finding fulfillment in our own actions and choices. This shift in perspective is liberating. It allows us to live with greater clarity, purpose, and contentment. With this in mind, let's move forward to the 12th strategy, where we'll explore how practicing voluntary discomfort can help us build resilience and further reduce envy. Now let's dive into the 12th strategy, practicing voluntary discomfort. This might sound counterintuitive at first. Why would anyone choose to experience discomfort on purpose? But in Stoicism, this practice is a powerful tool for building resilience and reducing envy. The idea is simple. By intentionally stepping out of our comfort zones, we train ourselves to rely less on external comforts and more on our inner strength. This shift in mindset helps us become less attached to material possessions, status, or the approval of others, all of which are common triggers for envy. Think about it. How often do we chase after comfort, convenience, or luxury, believing they'll make us happy? While there's nothing wrong with enjoying life's pleasures, becoming too dependent on them can leave us vulnerable. When we see others enjoying what we lack, envy can creep in. But by practicing voluntary discomfort, we remind ourselves that we don't need those external things to feel content. We learn to find satisfaction within ourselves, no matter the circumstances. For example, you might try something as simple as taking a cold shower instead of a warm one, or skipping a meal to experience hunger. These small acts of discomfort help us appreciate what we have and build mental toughness. Over time, they teach us that we're capable of enduring challenges without relying on external comforts. This realization is incredibly freeing. It reduces the power envy has over us because we no longer feel as though we need what others have to be happy. Another way to practice voluntary discomfort is to step away from modern conveniences for a short time. For instance, you could spend a day without your phone or social media, or choose to walk instead of driving. These experiences remind us that we can thrive without the things we often take for granted. They also help us see that the lives we envy on social media are often curated and incomplete. By embracing discomfort, we gain a clearer perspective on what truly matters. Stoicism teaches us that true freedom comes from mastering our desires and fears. When we practice voluntary discomfort, we're not punishing ourselves, we're training ourselves to be more resilient and self-reliant. This resilience makes us less likely to feel envious of others because we're no longer as dependent on external validation or material success. Instead, we find fulfillment in our ability to adapt and persevere, no matter what life throws our way. By embracing this practice, we also cultivate gratitude. When we intentionally step away from comfort, we gain a deeper appreciation for the things we usually take for granted. This gratitude naturally reduces envy because we're more focused on what we have rather than what we lack. It's a powerful reminder that happiness doesn't come from external possessions, it comes from within. With this in mind, let's move forward to the 13th strategy, where we'll explore how reflecting on the universality of envy can help us better understand and manage this emotion. Now let's turn our attention to the 13th strategy, reflecting on the universality of envy. This is where we step back and recognize that envy isn't unique to us, it's a shared human experience. Even the great Stoic philosopher Seneca acknowledged this, writing about how envy can creep into the hearts of anyone, regardless of their status or achievements. By understanding that envy is something everyone grapples with at some point, we can begin to normalize it. It's not a sign of weakness or failure, it's simply part of being human. Think about it. How many times have you felt a pang of envy when scrolling through social media or hearing about a friend's success? It's easy to feel isolated in those moments, as though you're the only one struggling with these emotions. But the truth is, envy is universal. Even those who seem to have it all, wealth, fame, or admiration, aren't immune. In fact, they might feel it just as intensely, if not more so. Recognizing this can help us feel less alone and more compassionate toward ourselves. Seneca often reminded his readers that envy is rooted in comparison, and comparison is something we all engage in, whether consciously or not. The key, however, is not to let envy control us. By reflecting on its universality, we can start to see it as a natural emotion rather than something to be ashamed of. This shift in perspective allows us to approach envy with curiosity rather than judgment, asking ourselves why we feel this way and what it reveals about our values or desires. For example, if you find yourself envying a colleague's promotion instead of beating yourself up, consider what that envy is telling you. maybe it's highlighting your own ambition or a desire for recognition. By understanding the root of your envy, you can channel it into something productive, like setting new goals or improving your skills. This way, envy becomes less of a burden and more of a tool for self-awareness and growth. Stoicism teaches us that emotions like envy aren't inherently bad. They're simply signals. They point us toward areas of our lives that might need attention or adjustment. By reflecting on the universality of envy, we can learn to manage it more effectively, using it as a mirror to better understand ourselves rather than a weapon to tear ourselves down. This approach not only reduces the sting of envy, but also helps us cultivate empathy for others who might be feeling the same way. So, the next time envy arises, remind yourself that it's a shared experience. You're not alone in feeling this way, and you don't have to let it define you. Instead, use it as an opportunity to reflect, grow, and connect with the common humanity we all share. With this in mind, let's move forward to the 14th strategy, where we'll explore how using envy as a mirror can reveal deeper insights about our values and aspirations. Now, let's take a closer look at the 14th strategy, using envy as a mirror. This approach invites us to turn inward and examine what we envy and why. Envy, when viewed through a Stoic lens, isn't just an emotion to suppress or ignore. It's a powerful tool for self-discovery. By asking ourselves why we feel envious of someone else's success, possessions, or relationships, we can uncover deeper truths about our own values, desires, and areas where we might want to grow. For instance, if you find yourself envying a friend's thriving career, pause and ask yourself, what is it about their success that resonates with me? Is it the recognition they receive, the financial stability they've achieved, or the passion they bring to their work? By digging into these questions, you might discover that your envy is pointing towards something you truly value, perhaps a longing for fulfillment, stability, or purpose in your own life. This kind of self-reflection helps you move beyond the surface-level sting of envy and into a space of clarity and intention. Stoicism teaches us that self-awareness is the foundation of personal growth. When we use envy as a mirror, we're not just observing our emotions, we're actively engaging with them to better understand ourselves. This process aligns perfectly with the Stoic principle of examining our inner world to cultivate wisdom and virtue. Instead of letting envy fester or spiral into resentment, we can transform it into a catalyst for positive change. Consider this: envy often highlights gaps between where we are and where we want to be. If you envy someone's healthy lifestyle, for example, it might reveal a desire to prioritize your own well-being. Instead of feeling defeated, you can use that insight to set small, actionable goals like starting a daily walk or preparing healthier meals. In this way, envy becomes less about what others have and more about what you can do to align your life with your values. It's also worth noting that envy can sometimes reveal misplaced priorities. If you find yourself envying someone's material possessions, for instance, it might prompt you to question whether those things truly matter to you or if they're simply societal pressures you've internalized. Stoicism encourages us to focus on what's within our control, our thoughts, actions, and character, rather than external markers of success. By reflecting on your envy, you can realign your focus with what truly brings you fulfillment. Ultimately, using envy as a mirror is about turning a potentially negative emotion into an opportunity for growth. It's about asking yourself, what does this envy reveal about me? And then taking steps to address those insights. This practice not only reduces the power envy holds over you, but also helps you move closer to living a life aligned with your deepest values and aspirations. With this in mind, let's shift our focus to the 15th strategy, where we'll explore how practicing gratitude daily can serve as a powerful antidote to envy, helping us cultivate a mindset of abundance and appreciation. Now, let's turn our attention to the 15th strategy, practicing gratitude daily. Gratitude is one of the most powerful tools in the Stoic toolkit for combating envy. When we focus on what we're thankful for, we shift our mindset from scarcity to abundance, which naturally reduces the urge to compare ourselves to others. Envy thrives on a sense of lack, feeling like we don't have enough or aren't enough. Gratitude, on the other hand, reminds us of the many blessings we already have, grounding us in the present moment and fostering contentment. One practical way to incorporate gratitude into your daily life is by keeping a gratitude journal. Each day, take a few minutes to write down 3 things you're thankful for. These don't have to be grand or extraordinary. They can be as simple as a warm cup of coffee in the morning, a kind word from a friend, or the beauty of a sunset. The act of writing them down helps solidify these moments in your mind, making it easier to recall them when envy starts to creep in. Over time, this practice trains your brain to notice and appreciate the good in your life rather than fixating on what you lack. Another effective method is to reflect on your gratitude before bed. As you lie down at night, think back on your day and identify 3 things that brought you joy or comfort. This not only helps you end the day on a positive note, but also reinforces the habit of seeking out the good in every situation. Stoicism teaches us that our happiness depends on our perspective, and gratitude is a powerful way to shape that perspective in a positive direction. Gratitude also helps us recognize the interconnectedness of our lives. When we feel thankful for the people, experiences, and opportunities we have, we're less likely to resent others for their successes. Instead, we can appreciate that everyone's journey is unique and our own path is filled with its own blessings. This mindset aligns with the Stoic belief that true fulfillment comes from within, not from external comparisons. To take this practice a step further, consider expressing your gratitude to others. Whether it's a heartfelt thank you to a colleague, a note of appreciation to a loved one, or even a silent acknowledgement of someone's kindness, expressing gratitude strengthens your relationships and deepens your sense of connection. It's a reminder that we're all part of a larger community, and our well-being is intertwined with the well-being of others. By making gratitude a daily habit, you create a buffer against envy. Instead of feeling diminished by others' achievements, you'll find yourself celebrating their successes while remaining grounded in your own sense of worth. This doesn't mean you won't ever feel envy again. It's a natural emotion after all, but it does mean you'll have a powerful tool to counteract it. Gratitude helps you focus on what you have rather than what you lack, and that shift in perspective is at the heart of Stoic wisdom. With this in mind, let's move forward to the 16th strategy, where we'll explore how visualizing the lives of those you envy can provide a deeper understanding of their challenges and help you gain a more balanced perspective. Now, let's shift our focus to the 16th strategy, visualizing the lives of those you envy. This approach invites you to look beyond the surface and imagine the full reality of the people you admire or feel envious of. Often, envy arises from seeing only the highlights of someone's life, their successes, possessions, or achievements, while overlooking the challenges, sacrifices, and struggles they've faced along the way. Stoicism teaches us that no one's life is as perfect as it seems, and this exercise can help you gain a more balanced perspective. When you find yourself feeling envious of someone, take a moment to pause and reflect. Instead of fixating on what they have that you don't, try to imagine the full picture of their life. What obstacles have they overcome to get where they are? What sacrifices have they made? What pressures or responsibilities might they be dealing with that you can't see? For example, someone with a high-profile career might envy their success, but they may also face immense stress, long hours, or a lack of personal freedom. By considering these aspects, you begin to see that every achievement comes with its own set of challenges. This practice aligns with the Stoic principle of seeking truth and understanding reality as it is, not as it appears. Envy often distorts our perception, making us believe that others have it all while we're left wanting. But when you take the time to visualize the full scope of someone's life, you realize that everyone has their own battles to fight. This doesn't diminish their accomplishments, but it does humanize them, making it easier to appreciate their journey without feeling diminished by comparison. To make this strategy more tangible, try this exercise. The next time you feel envy creeping in, write down what you admire about the person and then list what you imagine their challenges might be. This simple act of reflection can help you see the complexity of their life and remind you that no one is immune to difficulties. It's a powerful way to shift your mindset from comparison to compassion. Stoicism also encourages us to focus on what we can control, our own thoughts and actions, rather than fixating on others. By visualizing the lives of those you envy, you're not only gaining a clearer understanding of their reality, but also redirecting your energy toward your own growth and well-being. This practice helps you break free from the illusion of perfection and embrace a more grounded, realistic view of life. As we move forward, this strategy sets the stage for the next one, where we'll explore how focusing on the present moment can further reduce envy and help you cultivate a deeper sense of contentment. Now, let's turn our attention to the 17th strategy, focusing on the present moment. This Stoic practice is all about grounding yourself in the here and now, rather than getting caught up in comparisons or longing for what others have. Envy often pulls us into the future, imagining what we lack or what we wish we had, or into the past, dwelling on missed opportunities. But Stoicism reminds us that the only moment we truly have is the present, and learning to live fully in it can be a powerful antidote to envy. When you focus on the present, you're less likely to be distracted by the achievements or possessions of others. Instead, you become more aware of your own life, your thoughts, your actions, and the opportunities right in front of you. This shift in focus helps you appreciate what you have rather than fixating on what you don't. For example, instead of envying a friend's promotion, you might take a moment to reflect on your own progress and the steps you can take today to move closer to your goals. This kind of mindfulness brings clarity and purpose, reducing the emotional weight of envy. Stoicism teaches that the present moment is the only thing within our control. The past is gone and the future is uncertain, but the present is where we can act, make choices, and shape our lives. By practicing mindfulness, you train yourself to stay rooted in the now, which not only reduces envy but also fosters a deeper sense of contentment. Simple practices like paying attention to your breath, observing your surroundings, or fully engaging in a task can help you cultivate this awareness. To put this into action, try this exercise. Set aside a few minutes each day to sit quietly and focus on your breathing. Notice the sensations in your body, the sounds around you, and the thoughts passing through your mind. When you catch yourself drifting into comparisons or envy, gently bring your attention back to the present. Over time, this practice can help you build a habit of staying grounded, making it easier to let go of envy and embrace the richness of your own life. Focusing on the present also aligns with the Stoic idea of valuing effort over outcomes. When you're fully engaged in what you're doing, you're less concerned with how your results measure up to others. Instead, you find satisfaction in the process itself, whether it's working on a project, spending time with loved ones, or simply enjoying a quiet moment. This mindset shift not only reduces envy but also enhances your overall well-being. As we move forward, this strategy naturally leads us to the next one, where we'll explore how reframing envy as motivation can transform it from a source of frustration into a catalyst for growth. By staying present and mindful, you're already taking a significant step toward mastering your emotions and living a more stoic life. Now, let's shift our focus to the 18th strategy, reframing envy as motivation. While envy is often seen as a negative emotion, Stoicism teaches us that it can actually serve as a powerful tool for self-improvement if we approach it with the right mindset. Instead of allowing envy to breed resentment or frustration, we can use it as a signal to identify what we truly value and take steps toward achieving those goals ourselves. When you feel envious of someone else's success, pause and ask yourself why. What is it about their achievement that resonates with you? Is it their creativity, their discipline, or their ability to overcome challenges? By reflecting on these questions, you can uncover what you genuinely desire and use that insight to fuel your own growth. For example, if you envy a colleague's leadership skills, let that inspire you to develop your own abilities through training, practice, or seeking mentorship. In this way, envy becomes a mirror, reflecting not just what you lack but what you're capable of achieving. Stoicism reminds us that emotions are not inherently good or bad, it's how we respond to them that matters. Envy, when channeled constructively, can push us to set higher standards for ourselves and take meaningful action. Instead of dwelling on what others have, focus on what you can do to improve your own life. This shift in perspective transforms envy from a source of negativity into a catalyst for positive change. To put this into practice, start by identifying one area where you feel envy and break it down into actionable steps. If you envy someone's fitness level, for instance, create a plan to improve your own health through exercise, nutrition, or mindfulness. By taking small, consistent steps, you'll not only reduce feelings of envy, but also build confidence in your ability to grow and achieve. Remember, the goal isn't to compete with others, but to become the best version of yourself. Reframing envy as motivation also aligns with the Stoic principle of focusing on what's within your control. You can't change what others have or achieve, but you can control how you respond and what actions you take. By directing your energy towards self-improvement, you reclaim your power and turn envy into a force for good. This approach not only diminishes the sting of envy, but also fosters a sense of purpose and progress in your life. As we move forward, this strategy naturally leads us to the next one, where we'll explore the Stoic virtue of humility and how it can help us counteract envy. By learning to reframe envy as motivation, you're already taking a significant step toward mastering your emotions and living a more Stoic life. Now, let's turn our attention to the 19th strategy, practicing humility. Humility in Stoic philosophy is not about diminishing yourself or downplaying your worth. Instead, it's about recognizing your limitations and embracing the reality that no one is perfect. This mindset can be a powerful antidote to envy, as it shifts your focus from comparing yourself to others to appreciating your own journey and growth. When we practice humility, we acknowledge that everyone has strengths and weaknesses, including ourselves. This recognition helps us let go of the need to measure our worth against others. For example, instead of feeling envious of a friend's career success, humility allows us to celebrate their achievements while also accepting that our own path may look different, and that's okay. By focusing on our unique strengths and areas for improvement, we cultivate a sense of contentment that diminishes the urge to compare. Stoicism teaches us that humility is closely tied to self-awareness. When we honestly assess our abilities and limitations, we free ourselves from the unrealistic expectations that often fuel envy. Think of it this way: if you're constantly striving to match someone else's accomplishments without considering your own circumstances, you're setting yourself up for frustration. Humility, on the other hand, encourages you to set realistic goals based on your own values and capabilities, fostering a healthier and more fulfilling approach to life. One practical way to practice humility is to reflect on the contributions of others. Take a moment to consider the people who have helped you along the way: mentors, friends, or even strangers who offered kindness when you needed it. Recognizing that no one achieves success entirely on their own can help you appreciate the interconnectedness of life and reduce feelings of envy. This reflection not only deepens your gratitude but also reinforces the Stoic idea that we are all part of a larger whole. Another way to cultivate humility is to embrace failure as a teacher. When you make a mistake or fall short of a goal, instead of feeling defeated or envious of those who seem to have it all together, view it as an opportunity to learn and grow. Stoicism reminds us that setbacks are natural and necessary for progress. By approaching challenges with humility, you can turn envy into a source of motivation to improve rather than a source of resentment. Practicing humility also aligns with the Stoic principle of focusing on what's within your control. You can't control how others perceive you or what they achieve, but you can control how you respond to your own limitations and successes. By embracing humility, you shift your focus inward, fostering a sense of inner peace that makes envy less likely to take root. As we continue, this exploration of humility naturally leads us to the next strategy, where we'll reflect on the lives of Stoic role models and how their teachings can guide us in managing envy. By practicing humility, you're not only countering envy but also building a foundation for a more grounded and fulfilling life. Turning our attention to the lives of Stoic role models, we find timeless wisdom in the experiences of figures like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus. These philosophers not only faced envy and adversity, but also left behind teachings that continue to guide us in navigating these challenges. By reflecting on their lives, we can gain valuable insights into how to manage envy and cultivate inner peace. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, ruled during a time of immense pressure and responsibility. Despite his power and status, he often reflected on the fleeting nature of external achievements and the importance of focusing on virtue. In his personal writings, known as Meditations, he reminds us that envy is a distraction from what truly matters: our character and actions. By shifting our focus to living with integrity and purpose, we can rise above the temptation to compare ourselves to others. Epictetus, another influential Stoic thinker, faced a life of hardship from an early age. Born into slavery, he later gained his freedom and became a teacher of philosophy. His teachings emphasize the importance of accepting what we cannot control and focusing on our own responses to life's challenges. Epictetus often spoke about how envy arises from placing too much value on external things, such as wealth or status, rather than on our own moral development. By following his example, we can learn to detach from the desire for what others have and instead focus on cultivating our own virtues. Both Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus teach us that envy is rooted in a misunderstanding of what truly matters. They remind us that external success is fleeting and often comes with its own set of struggles. By reflecting on their lives, we can see that even those who seem to have it all face challenges and insecurities. This perspective helps us let go of envy and appreciate our own journey, no matter how different it may look from someone else's. One practical way to apply their teachings is to study their writings and reflect on how their insights apply to your own life. For example, when you feel envious of someone's success, consider Marcus Aurelius's reminder that external achievements are temporary and that true fulfillment comes from within. Or when you're tempted to compare yourself to others, recall Epictetus's advice to focus on what you can control: your thoughts, actions, and attitudes. By reflecting on the lives of these Stoic role models, we not only gain wisdom but also a sense of connection to a larger tradition of thought. Their teachings remind us that envy is a universal human experience, but it doesn't have to control us. Instead, we can use their examples to guide us toward a more grounded and contented life. As we move forward, this reflection on Stoic role models sets the stage for the next strategy, where we'll explore how to avoid overvaluing material wealth and why detaching from it can help us overcome envy. By learning from the lives of Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, we're better equipped to face our own challenges with clarity and resilience. Now, let's shift our focus to a strategy that challenges one of the most common sources of envy: the overvaluation of material wealth. In a world that often equates success with possessions, Stoic philosophy offers a refreshing perspective. It reminds us that true fulfillment doesn't come from what we own but from how we live. By detaching from the relentless pursuit of material things, we can free ourselves from the grip of envy and cultivate a deeper sense of inner peace. Stoicism teaches us that wealth, while it can provide comfort, is ultimately an external and indifferent thing. It's not inherently good or bad. It's how we use it and how much importance we place on it that matters. When we overvalue material wealth, we set ourselves up for disappointment and envy. We start measuring our worth against others' possessions, forgetting that these things are fleeting and often come with hidden costs. Think about it. How many times have you envied someone's luxurious lifestyle, only to later realize they're burdened by stress, debt, or a lack of meaningful relationships? Marcus Aurelius, despite being an emperor with access to immense wealth, often reflected on its limitations. He wrote in his Meditations that material possessions are like stones and sticks. They have no real value unless we assign it to them. This Stoic perspective invites us to question why we place so much importance on things that don't contribute to our character or happiness. By shifting our focus away from accumulating wealth and toward cultivating virtues like wisdom, courage, and kindness, we can find a more lasting sense of fulfillment. Epictetus, too, warned against the dangers of overvaluing material wealth. He taught that our happiness depends not on what we have but on how we think. When we tie our self-worth to external things, we give away our power to find contentment within ourselves. Instead of envying others for their possessions, we can choose to focus on what truly matters: our ability to live with integrity, to face challenges with resilience, and to find joy in the simple things. So, how can we apply this Stoic wisdom in our daily lives? Start by reflecting on your relationship with material wealth. Ask yourself, do I measure my success by what I own? Do I feel envious when others have more than me? If the answer is yes, consider practicing gratitude for what you already have. Take a moment each day to appreciate the non-material blessings in your life, your health, your relationships, your ability to grow and learn. This simple practice can help you detach from the desire for more and find contentment in the present moment. Another practical step is to declutter your life, both physically and mentally. Let go of possessions that no longer serve you and focus on what truly adds value to your life. This process isn't just about getting rid of stuff, it's about creating space for what matters most. By simplifying your life, you'll find it easier to resist the temptation to compare yourself to others and instead focus on your own journey. Ultimately, avoiding the overvaluation of material wealth is about reclaiming your freedom. When you stop chasing after things that don't truly matter, you free yourself from the cycle of envy and dissatisfaction. You begin to see that true wealth lies not in what you own but in who you are and how you live. This Stoic strategy invites us to redefine success on our own terms, focusing on inner growth rather than external accumulation. As we move forward, this reflection on material wealth prepares us for the next strategy, where we'll explore how to practice detachment from outcomes and why this mindset can help us overcome envy. By letting go of our attachment to material things, we take a powerful step toward living a more grounded and contented life. Now, let's turn our attention to a powerful Stoic practice that shifts our focus from external outcomes to internal intentions. This strategy, rooted in the wisdom of Stoic philosophy, teaches us to value our efforts and actions over the results they produce. By practicing detachment from outcomes, we can free ourselves from the grip of envy and find greater peace in the process of living. Stoicism reminds us that while we can control our intentions and efforts, the outcomes of our actions are often beyond our control. When we tie our self-worth to external success, whether it's a promotion, recognition, or material gain, we set ourselves up for disappointment and envy. Think about it. How often have you worked hard toward a goal, only to feel frustrated or envious when things didn't go as planned? This is where Stoic detachment comes in. By focusing on what we can control, our intentions, our effort, and our attitude, we can find fulfillment in the journey itself rather than being consumed by the destination. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on this idea, reminding himself that the value of an action lies in the intention behind it, not in the outcome. He wrote that even if the world doesn't recognize or reward our efforts, we can still take pride in knowing we acted with integrity and purpose. This mindset shifts our perspective from comparing ourselves to others to appreciating our own growth and effort. When we stop measuring our worth by external success, we reduce the temptation to envy others' achievements. Epictetus, too, emphasized the importance of focusing on what's within our control. He taught that our happiness depends not on the results of our actions but on the quality of our efforts. When we detach from outcomes, we free ourselves from the anxiety and envy that come with chasing external validation. Instead, we can focus on living virtuously and doing our best regardless of the results. This approach not only reduces envy but also fosters resilience, as we learn to find meaning in our efforts rather than in fleeting successes. So, how can we apply this Stoic practice in our daily lives? Start by setting intentions rather than fixating on goals. For example, instead of focusing solely on getting a promotion, focus on doing your best work every day. When you shift your attention to the process, you'll find greater satisfaction in your efforts, even if the outcome isn't what you hoped for. This mindset helps you appreciate your own progress and reduces the urge to compare yourself to others. Another practical step is to reflect on your actions at the end of each day. Ask yourself, did I act with integrity? Did I give my best effort? By focusing on these questions, you'll begin to see the value in your intentions rather than the results. Over time, this practice will help you detach from external outcomes and find contentment in your own growth. Ultimately, practicing detachment from outcomes is about reclaiming your power. When you stop tying your self-worth to external success, you free yourself from the cycle of envy and dissatisfaction. You begin to see that true fulfillment comes from living with purpose and integrity, not from achieving specific results. This Stoic strategy invites us to redefine success on our own terms, focusing on the quality of our efforts rather than the quantity of our achievements. As we move forward, this reflection on detachment prepares us for the next strategy, where we'll explore how cultivating a sense of abundance can further help us overcome envy. By letting go of our attachment to outcomes, we take another step toward living a more grounded and contented life. Now, let's explore a transformative Stoic strategy that invites us to see the world through a lens of abundance rather than scarcity. This approach, deeply rooted in Stoic philosophy, encourages us to shift our focus from what we lack to what we already have, fostering gratitude and reducing the grip of envy. By cultivating a sense of abundance, we can reframe our perspective and find contentment in the richness of our own lives. Stoicism teaches us that envy often arises from a mindset of scarcity, a belief that there's never enough to go around. We might look at others' success, possessions, or opportunities and feel as though we're missing out. But the Stoics remind us that this scarcity mindset is an illusion. In reality, life offers us countless blessings, from the air we breathe to the relationships we cherish. When we take the time to recognize and appreciate these gifts, we begin to see that we already have more than enough. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the abundance of life, even in the face of challenges. He wrote about the importance of focusing on what we have rather than what we lack, reminding himself that true wealth lies in our ability to appreciate the present moment. This Stoic practice of gratitude helps us break free from the cycle of envy by shifting our attention to the blessings that surround us. When we stop comparing ourselves to others and start counting our own blessings, we find a deeper sense of fulfillment. Epictetus also emphasized the power of perspective. He taught that our happiness depends not on external circumstances but on how we choose to view them. By cultivating a sense of abundance, we train ourselves to see the good in every situation, even when things don't go as planned. This mindset doesn't deny the challenges of life, but instead helps us approach them with resilience and gratitude. When we focus on what we have rather than what we lack, we reduce the temptation to envy others and instead find joy in our own journey. So, how can we apply this Stoic practice in our daily lives? Start by taking a few moments each day to reflect on the things you're grateful for. It could be as simple as a warm cup of coffee in the morning, a kind word from a friend, or the beauty of nature around you. By intentionally focusing on these blessings, you'll begin to shift your mindset from scarcity to abundance. Over time, this practice will help you see that life is full of opportunities and gifts, even in the midst of challenges. Another practical step is to reframe your thoughts when envy arises. Instead of dwelling on what someone else has, ask yourself, what do I already have that I'm grateful for? This simple question can help you redirect your focus and remind you of the abundance in your own life. By practicing this regularly, you'll find that envy loses its power over you, replaced by a sense of gratitude and contentment. Ultimately, cultivating a sense of abundance is about changing the way we see the world. It's about recognizing that life is not a zero-sum game where someone else's gain is your loss. Instead, it's a rich tapestry of experiences, relationships, and opportunities that we can all appreciate in our own way. This Stoic strategy invites us to embrace the fullness of life, finding joy in what we have rather than longing for what we don't. As we move forward, this mindset of abundance prepares us for the next strategy, where we'll reflect on the futility of envy and how letting go of this emotion can lead to greater peace and fulfillment. By shifting our perspective, we take another step toward living a life grounded in gratitude and contentment. Now, let's turn our attention to a powerful Stoic insight that reveals the true cost of envy. While it may feel like envy is directed outward toward someone else's success, possessions, or opportunities, the reality is that envy harms us far more than it affects the person we envy. This strategy invites us to reflect on the futility of envy, showing how it drains our energy and distracts us from what truly matters. Stoicism teaches us that envy is not just an emotion, it's a mindset that traps us in a cycle of dissatisfaction. When we envy others, we're essentially giving away our peace of mind, allowing our focus to be consumed by what we lack rather than what we can achieve. The Stoics remind us that envy is a waste of our most precious resource, our attention. Instead of using that energy to improve ourselves or appreciate our own lives, we squander it on comparisons that leave us feeling empty. Consider this: the person you envy is likely unaware of your feelings, and even if they were, it wouldn't change their circumstances. Envy doesn't take anything away from them, but it takes a great deal from you. It robs you of joy, distracts you from your goals, and keeps you stuck in a mindset of lack. As Seneca wisely observed, envy of other people shows how unhappy you are. A prosperous life depends on tranquility. In other words, envy is a sign that we've lost sight of our own inner peace. The Stoics also point out that envy is rooted in a misunderstanding of what truly matters. We often envy others for their external achievements, wealth, fame, or status, but these things are fleeting and ultimately outside our control. What we can control is how we choose to spend our time and energy. When we focus on cultivating virtues like wisdom, courage, and self-discipline, we find a deeper sense of fulfillment that no amount of envy can provide. So, how can we break free from the futility of envy? Start by recognizing that envy is a self-inflicted wound. Every time you feel envious, remind yourself that you're choosing to focus on someone else's life instead of your own. Ask yourself, what could I achieve if I redirected this energy toward my own growth and goals? This simple shift in perspective can help you reclaim your focus and channel it into something productive. Another practical step is to reflect on the impermanence of the things you envy. The wealth, status, or success you admire in others may not last, and even if it does, it doesn't guarantee happiness. The Stoics remind us that true contentment comes from within, not from external achievements. By letting go of envy, you free yourself to pursue what truly matters: your own growth, relationships, and inner peace. Ultimately, reflecting on the futility of envy is about reclaiming your power. It's about recognizing that envy is a distraction, not a solution, and choosing to invest your energy in what truly enriches your life. When you let go of envy, you open yourself up to a world of possibilities, where your focus is on creating a life that aligns with your values and aspirations. As we prepare to explore the final strategy, this reflection on the futility of envy sets the stage for a deeper commitment to self-improvement and resilience. By releasing the burden of envy, we take another step toward living a life of purpose, gratitude, and fulfillment. Now, as we approach the final strategy, let's shift our focus to a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy: the commitment to continuous self-improvement. This principle isn't just about achieving goals or reaching milestones. It's about embracing a mindset of lifelong learning and growth. When you dedicate yourself to becoming the best version of yourself, you naturally leave little room for envy to take root. The Stoics believed that true fulfillment comes from the pursuit of virtue and self-mastery, not from comparing ourselves to others. By focusing on your own progress, you shift your attention inward, where real transformation happens. Imagine envy as a weed in a garden. When you nurture the soil of your own character, the weeds of envy have no space to grow. Every step you take towards self-improvement strengthens your resilience and diminishes the power of envy in your life. One of the most powerful ways to commit to self-improvement is to set small, actionable goals that align with your values. These don't have to be grand or life-changing. They can be as simple as reading a book that challenges your thinking, practicing a new skill, or reflecting on your day to identify areas for growth. The key is consistency. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." By focusing on what you can control, your thoughts, actions, and habits, you build a foundation of inner strength that envy cannot shake. Another aspect of continuous self-improvement is embracing feedback and learning from setbacks. The Stoics viewed challenges as opportunities for growth, not as reasons to feel inadequate. When you encounter obstacles, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I use this experience to become stronger or wiser? This mindset not only helps you overcome envy, but also transforms setbacks into stepping stones toward your goals. It's also important to remember that self-improvement is a journey, not a destination. There will always be more to learn, more to achieve, and more ways to grow. This ongoing process keeps you engaged and motivated, reducing the temptation to compare yourself to others. Instead of envying someone else's success, you'll be too busy working on your own path, celebrating your progress, and striving to live in alignment with your values. Finally, committing to self-improvement fosters a sense of gratitude for your own journey. When you focus on your growth, you begin to appreciate the unique opportunities and challenges that shape your life. You realize that everyone's path is different, and that's what makes life so rich and meaningful. By embracing your own story, you free yourself from the need to measure up to anyone else. As we wrap up this exploration of Stoic strategies for dealing with envy, remember that the ultimate antidote to envy is a commitment to becoming the best version of yourself. When you pour your energy into self-improvement, you create a life so full of purpose and growth that envy simply has no place in it. And with that, we've reached the end of our 25 strategies, but the journey of applying these principles is just beginning. Now that we've explored the importance of continuous self-improvement, let's dive into how you can practically apply this Stoic principle in your daily life. The beauty of Stoicism lies in its practicality. It's not just about lofty ideas, but about actionable steps that you can take to live a more fulfilling and envy-free life. One of the simplest yet most effective ways to integrate self-improvement into your routine is by setting small, achievable goals. These goals don't need to be monumental. They just need to align with your values and push you slightly outside your comfort zone. For example, you might commit to reading a chapter of a thought-provoking book each day, practicing mindfulness for 10 minutes, or reflecting on your actions each evening. The key is to focus on progress, not perfection. As the Stoics taught, it's the consistent effort that builds character and resilience over time. Another powerful practice is seeking feedback from others. This might feel uncomfortable at first, but it's a cornerstone of growth. Ask trusted friends, mentors, or colleagues for honest input on areas where you can improve. The Stoics believed in the importance of self-awareness, and feedback helps you see yourself more clearly. It's not about seeking validation, but about gaining insights that can guide your journey toward becoming the best version of yourself. Journaling is another practical tool that aligns perfectly with Stoic values. Take a few minutes each day to write about your thoughts, actions, and emotions. Reflect on what went well, what challenges you faced, and how you responded to them. This practice not only fosters self-awareness but also helps you track your progress over time. As Marcus Aurelius demonstrated through his own writings, journaling is a powerful way to process experiences and reinforce your commitment to growth. Incorporating self-improvement into your daily life also means embracing discomfort. The Stoics practiced voluntary discomfort to build resilience and reduce their dependence on external comforts. You can apply this by intentionally stepping into situations that challenge you, whether it's having a difficult conversation, trying a new skill, or simply waking up earlier to dedicate time to your goals. These small acts of courage strengthen your ability to handle life's inevitable challenges and reduce the temptation to envy others. Finally, remember that self-improvement is a lifelong journey. It's not about reaching a destination, but about embracing the process. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small, and remind yourself that every step forward is a victory. By focusing on your own growth, you naturally shift your attention away from comparing yourself to others. Instead of envying someone else's success, you'll be too busy working on your own path, guided by the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. As you integrate these practices into your daily life, you'll find that self-improvement becomes not just a goal but a way of being. It's a commitment to living with purpose, resilience, and gratitude, qualities that leave no room for envy to take root. And with that, let's move forward to explore how Stoicism can help us overcome setbacks and build even greater resilience. Now, let's turn our attention to how Stoicism equips us to face setbacks with resilience. Life is full of challenges, and it's easy to feel envious when others seem to glide through obstacles while we struggle. But Stoicism offers a powerful perspective. Setbacks are not failures, they are opportunities for growth. The Stoics believed that adversity is a teacher. When we encounter difficulties, we're given a chance to practice virtues like patience, courage, and perseverance. Think of it this way: every setback is a test of your character. Instead of envying someone who appears to have it easier, focus on how you can grow stronger through your own challenges. For example, if you lose a job or face a rejection, rather than comparing yourself to others, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I use this experience to become more resilient? One practical way to build resilience is by reframing your mindset. When something goes wrong, pause and remind yourself that you can't control the situation, but you can control how you respond to it. This is the essence of the Stoic dichotomy of control. By focusing on your response, you shift from feeling powerless to feeling empowered. Over time, this practice not only reduces envy, but also strengthens your ability to handle future setbacks with grace. Another Stoic tool for overcoming setbacks is premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of adversity. This exercise involves imagining potential challenges before they happen. By mentally preparing for difficulties, you reduce their emotional impact when they occur. For instance, if you're worried about a project failing, visualize the worst-case scenario and plan how you'll respond. This doesn't mean dwelling on negativity. It means being ready to face life's uncertainties with calm and clarity. Resilience also grows when we embrace the idea that setbacks are temporary. The Stoics remind us that everything in life is fleeting, both the good and the bad. When you're in the middle of a tough situation, it's easy to feel like it will last forever. But by reminding yourself that this too shall pass, you can maintain perspective and avoid the trap of envy. Instead of wishing for someone else's circumstances, focus on how you can emerge from your challenges stronger and wiser. Finally, remember that resilience is a skill you build over time. Just as a muscle grows stronger with exercise, your ability to handle setbacks improves with practice. Each time you face a challenge and come out the other side, you're proving to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought. This confidence reduces the urge to envy others because you know you have the inner strength to navigate your own path. By viewing setbacks as opportunities and cultivating resilience, you not only overcome envy but also develop a deeper sense of self-reliance and purpose. And with that, let's explore how building a supportive Stoic community can further strengthen your journey toward a life free from envy. Now, let's shift our focus to the power of community in your Stoic journey. One of the most effective ways to combat envy is by surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals who share your commitment to Stoic principles. A supportive community not only reinforces your values but also provides a space where you can grow, learn, and find encouragement during challenging times. Think about it this way: when you're part of a group that values virtue, self-improvement, and resilience, it becomes easier to stay grounded. Instead of comparing yourself to others, you're inspired by their progress and motivated to focus on your own growth. A Stoic community acts as a mirror, reflecting back the qualities you're striving to cultivate within yourself. Building such a community doesn't have to be complicated. Start by seeking out people who share your interest in Stoicism, whether it's through local meetups, online forums, or even social media groups. Engage in discussions, share your experiences, and learn from others' perspectives. The key is to create connections with those who uplift and challenge you to live in alignment with Stoic values. A supportive community also helps you stay accountable. When you're tempted to fall into envy or self-doubt, having others who understand your goals can remind you of what truly matters. They can offer guidance, share their own struggles, and help you see setbacks as opportunities rather than failures. This collective wisdom strengthens your resolve and keeps you focused on your path. Moreover, being part of a Stoic community allows you to practice empathy and compassion, two virtues that directly counteract envy. When you genuinely celebrate others' successes and support them through their challenges, you shift your mindset from comparison to connection. This not only reduces envy but also deepens your sense of belonging and purpose. Finally, remember that a Stoic community isn't just about receiving support, it's also about giving it. By sharing your own insights and experiences, you contribute to the growth of others. This reciprocal exchange of wisdom and encouragement creates a positive cycle that benefits everyone involved. So, as you continue your journey toward overcoming envy, consider the role of community in your life. Surround yourself with those who inspire you to live virtuously, and together you'll find strength, clarity, and a deeper sense of fulfillment. And with that, let's move forward to the final part of our discussion, where we'll bring all these strategies together and reflect on their transformative power. As we wrap up our exploration of the 25 Stoic strategies for dealing with envy, let's take a moment to reflect on the journey we've taken together. From recognizing envy as an external judgment to cultivating gratitude, practicing empathy, and building a supportive community, each strategy offers a practical and timeless tool to help you navigate this challenging emotion. These principles, rooted in Stoic philosophy, remind us that envy is not something to be ashamed of. It's a natural human experience. But with the right mindset and practices, we can transform it into an opportunity for growth and self-improvement. The beauty of these strategies lies in their simplicity and accessibility. Whether it's focusing on what you can control, practicing negative visualization, or reframing envy as motivation, each approach is designed to help you build resilience and find contentment in your own life. By shifting your perspective and aligning your actions with Stoic values, you can break free from the cycle of comparison and embrace a more fulfilling, virtuous way of living. Now it's your turn to take these lessons and apply them in your daily life. Start small, choose 1 or 2 strategies that resonate with you and commit to practicing them consistently. Over time, you'll notice a shift in how you perceive yourself and others, and you'll find that envy no longer holds the same power over you. We'd love to hear about your experiences. Which strategies have you found most helpful? How have they impacted your mindset and relationships? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your insights could inspire others on their own Stoic journey. If you found this video valuable, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more content on Stoicism and personal growth. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Together, let's continue to explore the wisdom of Stoicism and build lives of purpose, resilience, and inner peace. Thank you for watching, and remember, the power to overcome envy lies within you.